New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hello and welcome back to Global Focus today. I am Reverend Dr. Sharri Johnson, your host, and our guest today, I suspect, I hope, has a topic that is going to be a surprise for all of you. She is a minister and a teacher, and I first met her at the affiliated New Thought Network and thought, oh boy, wow, quick, grab this lady. And so I want you to help me welcome Reverend Dr. Janine Burns. She has a doctorate of religious studies and divinity from Emerson Theological Institute. She's an ordained minister. She's the director of the Guiding Light Foundation, and I don't think it's a soap opera. She serves as a celebrant performing memorials and celebrations of life. She's affectionately known as Rev and is a spiritual counselor, providing tools for the individual's holistic sustenance, strength, and empowerment. She is a teacher. From the get-go, she is a teacher. And the topic that she has that's, I think, going to be new for many of you is called havening. And she is certified as a havening techniques practitioner and has a website all about it and everything, but I'm going to let her tell you about it instead. She also does something you'll want to look up because it's really cool. It's called Monday Mindful Moments on her Facebook page. So please help me welcome Dr. Janine Burns. Thank you so much for saying yes to come.
Thank you, Reverend Sharri. Good to see you. Good to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, the nice thing about this show is that people who live 1,000 miles from me, I get to see them a couple of times a year.
Yeah, great.
So I want to know about the havening, because we were talking before the show, because that's what happens is I talk to you. And the topic of self-care came up, and it just made all kinds of bells go off for me. So would you talk about that for us?
Yes. Well, it's havening techniques, and havening techniques are wonderful. They're a marvelous, innovative method that uses simple touch to change the landscape of the brain. And it's just amazing because havening can permanently treat and heal traumas, anxieties, phobias, but it also creates positive alterations in the brain to enhance wellness and resilience. And the method is consistent with current neuroscience literature. They're easy to learn. They can be self-applied. They're rapid, gentle, and just wonderful. So let me tell you a little more. There's actually 3 ways to haven and 7 techniques. Even if you don't use the techniques, if you just haven, what you do is you activate cells that reaches the amygdala, which is at the base of the brain. That's where the flight or fight response is stored. And when you haven, there's 3 primary ways. One of them is stroking your face, and the other is stroking downwards from your shoulders to your elbows. And the other way is rubbing your palms together. This, in turn, creates low-frequency delta waves. And then that, in turn, creates serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin. So even just havening without using any of the specific techniques is marvelous. It's so calming, and it's transforming. It's amazing. technique.
I have it since the first time I saw you do that. I have used that in a situation. I don't have a horribly stressful life, but every now and then something happens that just fries my circuits. And if I can remember to just stop, and even if the only one I do is this one, so I use this is my favorite.
Oh, that's your favorite. This is my favorite. Well,
Yeah.
it's also used for resilience. I would encourage you when it's time to meditate to do it to get you nice and calm. But are you familiar with the Ernest Holmes affirmation on good?
Go ahead.
I'll tell you, it goes, and I do this and I haven because I'm literally creating new neural pathways and changing the subconscious mind way more effectively than merely saying affirmations. So it goes, good and more good is mine, and ever increasing good is mine. There is no limit to the good which is mine. Everywhere I go, I see this good, I feel this good, and I experience it. It crowds itself against me, flows through me, expresses itself in me, and multiplies itself around me. Now, that's from Ernest Holmes, Living the Science of Mind paper. And it's a long affirmation. So I have a lot of people are just saying good and more good is mine and havening. So I encourage you to haven when you're working your affirmations. Yeah. It's just brilliant technique.
It's like a psychic tattoo.
Yes. Now there's 7 techniques, and I typically do spiritual affirmational havening I do Monday Mindful Moments on Facebook, and it's about 2-3 minutes. And I do the affirmation. I give a little inspiration and then an affirmation. And that's affirmation. One of my favorite methods of havening is called if-formational, like the word if. And what's so cool about that, the gentleman who invented it, his name escapes me right now. But anyway, it's possibility thinking. What if? So what if I felt peaceful, safe, and calm? What if it was easy to get my boat ready for the summer? What if I got my work done timely? What if I was healthier? And on, whatever you want to put on to that. What if I had all the ideas necessary to do whatever I want to do, etc. That's one of the methods. Another method is called event havening. And you can go on YouTube. There's many, many videos on YouTube. Event havening, which is magical. You can depotentiate a trauma. So what happens is when you're traumatized, there's AMPA receptors that kind of poke up like antennas on the amygdala. And so that whenever there's an experience similar to the one that traumatized you, your brain, its job, the amygdala, is to protect you. What this technique can do using distraction, distracting the working memory and havening, is you'll have a traumatic event and you'll be able to take the emotion out of it. So let's say you had a bad car accident and you get in the car and you find yourself really super tense. You can actually haven. There's a technique to do it, that it's important to work with someone who's certified if it's a trauma, that you can literally remember the event, but not the emotion attached to it. So it's a phenomenal healing technique, especially for people with childhood traumas. It's amazing. It's remarkable.
Okay, now what comes to me is you live too far away from here. So people can't get to you from everywhere. Are there organizations or directories where people can go to find someone who's a havening practitioner?
Absolutely. Havening.org. You can find someone there. And I would be the first time announcing this. Beginning in May, the first Monday of every month, between 6:30 and 7:15 for 45 minutes Eastern Standard Time, I'll be teaching havening. No charge. No charge, no sales. The Guiding Light Foundation is sponsoring it. And I will be teaching basic havening. And each week, if there's someone willing, I'll walk them through releasing trauma and I'll teach the various techniques.
Okay, now is that AM or PM?
That's going to be PM. Oh my goodness, 6:30 to 7:50. That's a good point.
Had me
PM.
worried for a minute there because 6:15 where you are AM is a whole lot earlier where I
Exactly. And people can email me at Dr. Janine Burns, and I will send the link for the Zoom. I'll
is.
send the Zoom information.
Go ahead and put me on the list right now.
Okay, I'm making a note of that. Put Reverend Sharri. You got it. Reverend
Yeah.
Sharri. Yeah.
I,
And it's
I I've not ever worked with a havening practitioner, but I remember when you did the presentation at Anton a couple of years ago, and you worked with was it Dr. Missy? You worked with
Yes.
Dr. Missy, and I was sitting right in the front row, and it was like, oh, I'm getting like God bumps, thinking about it now, remembering this. So I definitely want to be in that class.
Oh, great. Thank you. And even just following along, those in the audience who followed along benefited just by. I mean, even if you just do it right now, so many times, when I first learned it, I was so surprised because I perform funeral and memorial services now for a living. And I remember before I took havening, I'd get up to the podium and I'd have my hands down by my waist and I'd be rubbing my palms like this back and forth. And I would say to myself, stop it. You're a woman in a man's world. Calm down, be poised. I was naturally havening. And that's what's so exciting. You see so many people, they just go like this, or they go, or you just see that people go like this, people naturally haven. And something very, very exciting, Michelle Paradise met up with Deepak Chopra, and he has a whole TV show, not a whole network. And Michelle Paradise is her name. He gave her a channel on his network. And it's so exciting because this stuff is reaching the world at this point. It's just so remarkable. Now, her name is Michelle Paradise, and Deepak Chopra is extremely interested in havening techniques. He'd heard about it and wanted to know more. So she met with him a few times and his team, and he gave her his own channel on Deepak's new project entitled Jayo, Jiyo, which is a subscription app and website. And she's already recorded 22-minute videos teaching the basics.
Oh,
it's taken over the world. It is astonishing, the difference. It's literally Europe. It's a lot of Europe is already doing it. Australia, there's about 1,000 practitioners now, and it's just amazing.
Well, I think it's wonderful because I think that something people forget is that self-care it's really important. It should be your number one priority. And the thing that people forget is that self-care is prayer. Absolutely. And what havening is to me, just from my perspective, havening is self-care when I am able to give myself the comfort, the love, the security, the compassion that there's nobody else around to give me at that particular moment, which happens to be the moment when I need it. It's portable. I mean, if you're there, havening is available.
Yeah.
So I just think that's marvelous.
And my classes on Monday, the first Monday of every month, are called Essential Spiritual Self-Care. Essential Spiritual Self-Care. Yeah. To nourish and support yourself. So it's just taking off. It's just beyond amazing what's going on. Even just since it's only been about 3 years now that I've been a practitioner. Oh, and I have some very exciting news. There's a conference, and this year I was so surprised because last year was Dublin, and usually out of the country. It's actually on Long Island where I live, and it's in Roslyn. And she, I'll be a speaker, but then she called me up and wants me to be the opening speaker. So that's pretty exciting stuff for me to.
Is it going to be streamlined?
Is it repeat? Sorry.
Is it going to be live streamed?
No, it's only for certified havening practitioners. That's why I'm starting the Monday, because there's so many people interested. You can come once or you can come to every session, and I can just teach you some very simple techniques. And Kate Truitt, Truitt, she is a psychologist and neuroscientist. She's come out with a couple of books on havening, and she teaches you basic techniques that you can do yourself. But I'm going to teach them live on Zoom.
Now, in your bio, it also talks about the fact that you are trained in transformational breathing. And I took a class, in the previous century, I took this class. 30 years ago, I took this class. It was called Pranavayu, and it was about conscious breathing controlled, transformation. And then I went from that into becoming a Reiki master. And so it's like all of these things are coming up into the conscious awareness of the human race, because the only solution for the stuff that's going on in the world today is this stuff that's coming up. So talk a little bit about the transformational breath, if you would, please.
Well, the world is undergoing a rapid and radical spiritual transformation. People are waking up to the power within. They're understanding that their thoughts are creative. They understand that the power of the spoken word. And regarding transformational breath, it's a wonderful technique that you can use to also release emotional challenges. It has served me very well taking that training, because conscious breathing is remarkably wonderful also for relaxing and keeping yourself centered. And I'd like to teach you my current favorite breathing skill. And so what you do is you breathe into your nose, deep breath, and then take one more shot. It's going to be a little one because you've already breathed deeply. And then you exhale super duper slow through your mouth. Super duper slow like that. So you take a breath in through the nose, one more in through the nose, exhale slowly through the mouth. I find that's one of the most effective ways, if you're feeling agitated or riled up, to get yourself super calm literally in a matter of seconds, is with practicing breathing skills. Yeah.
And I'll tell you a funny story about that breathing skills is, that's very similar to
Similar to what?
My favorite breathing thing. Am I sideways? Can you hear me better?
No, your breath, a couple of words didn't come out.
My favorite breathing practice is very similar to that. It's called circular breathing. And what you do is you breathe in through your nose as deep as you can, and imagine your stomach becoming distended by the air that you're breathing in. So you breathe in as deep as you can until you can't breathe in anymore. And you count seconds. And when you can't breathe anymore, then you count that many more seconds while you're holding your breath. And then you breathe out slowly the same number of seconds through your mouth.
In through your nose, out through your mouth, or in and out through your nose?
In through your nose, out through your mouth, and you hold after the exhale and then repeat that. It doesn't matter how fried I am. If I can remember to do that, just like that, I'm calm.
Well, that's what it's really all about, remembering to remember. I mean, if you can remember to remember, then you're good. The other day, I had to do something up with the local town, and, it's difficult, and it's been taking a while, and getting the right forms and blah, blah. So I'm on the phone with someone who's complaining about it, and they're saying how difficult it's going to be. And I stopped and I said, no, that's not my truth. That might be your truth. That is not my truth. And everything's in divine order. I went in, there was a new lady there, and she literally walked me up to where I needed to do what I had to get done, and everything. It was very involved, and she took care of it like that. And that was because I wasn't willing to participate in that negativity. And I remembered to remember that there's a presence and power within me that's guiding, directing me always. But my responsibility is to connect to it. That's my responsibility. And remembering to remember is a big part of it. And after a while, the more you remember, the more you practice. I really believe that's what Jesus said when he talked about living in the kingdom, that you find yourself in the world of divine synchronicity, that whatever you need, whenever you need it, is right there. And that the universe always gives you the ideas necessary for your particular good. And when you remember to remember.
I had a friend once who said that she wanted to emulate Jesus so completely that she could hold out her hand and say, ham and cheese sandwich, and poof, it would be there. She said, he didn't wine, but I don't drink wine. I want a ham and cheese sandwich.
That is someone who is really enlightened. I mean, I've heard of like, you know, different yogis and such, but if someone can manifest to that degree, so it's, you know, spiritual teaching, just like havening, is cumulative. The more you work on your consciousness, the more you take time every day to strengthen your faith, to strengthen your connection within, then you get to the point where you speak your word. And I do all the time. I said, okay, God, I got to do this, this, and this. And just seemingly magical things happen. And it's because you've taken the time to establish a relationship and then deepen that connection every day. It's wonderful. It's so amazing to live in that mindset that you know that you're always divinely guided, guarded, and protected. You know, I had an incident Saturday. I'd ordered a pair of glasses and I forgot a feature that I wanted. Reflection free, scratch resistance, high index, I forgot a feature. And I called and I was told, no, they can't change it. That's just what you've done. And I said, okay, well, I would appreciate it if you could try your best, even though you can't. If you can, please do. And I found myself with a sinking feeling because if I didn't have that feature on those glasses, I could only use them part-time and it was not worth it. So I said a spiritual mind treatment, which is known as affirmative prayer, where I identified with the presence and power. I talked about that. There's one power, one presence, God. This power is individualized as me. It expresses through me and as me. And I am divinely guided. And I speak my word right now that there's divine order and divine right action with my eyewear order. And then I just let it go. And it was hard to let it go because it kept coming back. And every time it came back, I said, divine right action, God is in charge. Well, that was Saturday night. And then last night, I received a phone call that they somehow magically, I'm getting what I want. And I don't know how they did it because they told me they couldn't do it, but they did it. And that was because my faith was strong. I kept standing in that. Because the person who said, they kept on saying, they called me and said, we can't do it. And then I said, I think you can do anything. I'm just going to keep knowing that all is in divine order. So it happens all the time. It's the way the universe made it. Life is supposed to be like that. We're supposed to live a peaceful, productive, rewarding, prosperous life experience. That's how we were designed to live that way.
Yes. Amen. I'll take a serving of that. I have 5 questions that I ask everybody. So I'm going to start asking them. And the first one is probably the most important one from your perspective. And that is there anything at all that you want to talk about or explain or invite that I haven't asked you about?
No, so far, no. You've asked me some really good questions. Actually, yeah, I'm so excited about the havening. It's just so remarkable to have at your finger. We literally hold in our hands the ability to do self-healing with this wonderful psychosensory technique. So I'm happy for everybody. My website is Transformational Havening, or you could just go to havening.org. But I encourage you to go on YouTube and check out some of the videos there. And there are many, many videos that you can discover.
Now, I just remembered a question I wanted to ask you about the haven, and that is that I'm a words person. I'm words are my thing, and so I'm always looking where things come from. My favorite category on Jeopardy is word origins. So I'm looking at havening, and I'm going, a haven is a place of safety and comfort. Is that where it comes from?
That's why they call it
named after somebody. So
no, havening comes from so haven is a place of safety and comfort. It's a noun. Havening is the verb. And it's called havening techniques, but now they also just acknowledge havening. And it's really remarkable that it's spreading in that manner, that people can just say havening and boom.
Well, I just wanted to Okay, next question. How does what you do as a minister, as a havening practitioner, as a person in general, how does that increase, expand, support, encourage, pick your own verb, conscious evolution?
To be able to heal from emotional hurts and pains from when you were a child or in your 20s, etc., creates the space for you to be more in charge of your thinking rather than your thinking being in charge of you. And so then you don't again repeat negative patterns. So it's just fundamentally remarkable to have a technique such as that you can use to heal. And that's definitely going to promote conscious evolution. And I really, really believe that it's a tool that's going to heal the planet. I absolutely believe that. I think that's why she has me speaking at the conference.
I think that's wonderful.
Without a doubt, yeah.
Okay, now the next question is similar but not the same. How does what you do as a minister, as a evening practitioner, how does what you do encourage, enhance, unveil, support, ... pick your own verb, world peace?
Oh, well, the world is a mirror of our consciousness. As we create peace in our own consciousness, it will ripple out into the world. So it's just phenomenal. I recently did a funeral early in the year, and this lady was devastated. It was what's called traumatic grief. I've taken a lot of training in grief support, and it was traumatic grief. And her son had passed. He had died by suicide. And she was so bereft. I mean, I could hardly speak with her. And I was on the phone with her. And I said, look, just want to try something right now. Let's just pause for a minute. I want you to breathe. And I told her how to breathe in through her nose, out through her mouth. I said, I just want you to rub your hands together. Let's just together rub our hands. And I did it for a full 45 seconds. And just that. And then I said, I want you to repeat the word peace. And she said, peace. I said, over and over, say peace. She was so astounded just by doing that, the shift, because when there's a loss like that, your physiology changes, your brain gets confused, thinking, it just gets all mushy. She was so astonished, and she told everybody. And the reason I know she told everybody, so I went to do the funeral, and it was in a funeral home that had 15 seats in the first row. Usually they only just have 4 or 6. This one had a big long row. I looked at her and I went like this, like we're going to begin. The whole front row started havening to the point before I gave the eulogy. I needed to tell the congregation, the audience, what we were doing, because everybody started doing it. And it was just, gosh, I was so pleased about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Gosh, I love that. Okay. Now, the next question is a little bit trickier, and you might want to close your eyes. This is the one that requires imagination. Supposing that every single thing goes exactly the way you want it to go, every event, every activity, every relationship, every single idea goes exactly the way you want it to go. 10 years from now, what does your ministry look like?
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about ascension or something. I think in 10 years, my ministry is probably going to look like me traveling and teaching havening, and just teaching havening, because I really believe we can transform the planet and create peace on earth with this technique, because people will not be an emotional hurt. People hurt. And when people are feeling healed and whole, they radiate such love and light and caring and compassion. So I think in 10 years, it's going to be that. Yeah, without a doubt, I'll be doing that.
Okay, so here's the very last question, number 5. Will you come back?
Oh, thank you, Reverend Sharri. I'd love to come back, and I would love to come and visit with you in
Kansas City,
Missouri. Yeah,
yep. You're welcome anytime.
Thank you.
I got 2 Johns, and now my first opening is October 8th of this year. Can I plug you in?
Let me see here. October's not a good month for me, because I think I'm a boater, and I'm on the
Oh, I forgot about that. Okay,
the next Commodore.
The next
November would be better because I'm yeah, I got it.
Okay, the next one is February 18th of next year. Can you do that one?
Of 2025?
Huh?
Yes, February 18th.
Hey! Okay, I'm putting it down.
I'll put this in my book. Okay, thank you.
And I'll send you an email just like I always do. But
Okay,
I
terrific.
I don't like to let people get away before I got them because we're never done. You know, there's so much to talk about.
Yes, there is. Okay, good.
All
Got
right. And I want to let everybody know that our guest next week is Reverend Dr. Jerry Troyer, who is the president of the board of Anton. And his ministry is called Urban Street Angels, and it is just amazing. I'm so tickled that he agreed to come back. So don't miss it. It's going to be wonderful, and we'll see you then. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network. Come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings.